Live breaking news, everyone. The jury in the Daniel Penny trial in downtown Manhattan, brought up by Alvin Do-Nothing Bragg, the Soros-backed district attorney who everybody thinks, including Alan Dershowitz, one of the top lawyers that we've had in our country, at least in the last century or so, has said that he's a danger to the criminal justice system. The jury has come back and said to the judge, we can't decide, which, if you watched my stream yesterday, if you know anything about this trial, and you've seen the actual footage from the eyewitness testimonies, if you've seen exactly what happened, you saw his, if you missed that stream yesterday, you saw his testimony to detectives, and you know anything about this trial at all, it seems absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to give you the breakdown of what's going to happen next, what the judge responded to the jury, and also I'm going to share with you a clip of Daniel Penny that I think is one of the most powerful videos to demonstrate what kind of an upstanding gentleman, citizen, veteran he is, and why even more conclusive evidence that he is innocent and he is the kind of person that we should elevate, not denigrate. So the judge ordered the jurors Friday to keep deliberating after they said they were deadlocked in the trial of Daniel Penny. The jury said it could not come to a unanimous decision on the top charge of manslaughter. Penny is also charged with criminally negligent homicide. He has pleaded not guilty. We all know he's innocent. Jurors have been deliberating since Tuesday afternoon. They sent a note to Judge Maxwell Wiley today, just moments ago, stating that they have not been able to agree on a verdict for the manslaughter charge, which is count one. Before they began deliberations, Wiley told the jury that it must come to a unanimous decision on that charge. But it's funny how they didn't say that. The jury instructions were not from fake Don Juan Merchan when it came to Trump's hush money trial in the same district. He didn't say they had to be unanimous. That's interesting. Wiley told the jury that it must come to a unanimous decision on that charge before it can be allowed to consider the lesser charge of the criminally negligent homicide. They were also instructed to decide whether Penny's actions caused Neely's death, and if so, whether he had acted recklessly and in an unjustified manner. Thomas Kenneth, one of Penny's attorneys outside of the jury's presence, asked the judge to declare a mistrial, and I have to agree, and I know a lot of great legal experts like Jonathan Turley, Alan Dershowitz agree as well. He says, quote, "The jury has been deliberating for roughly 20 hours over 4 days." I mean, 20, can you guys imagine? 20, that means there's gotta be a few jurors on there, if not more, who actually think Daniel Penny is guilty. I mean, it's ludicrous. It's nuts when you looked at what has happened. But this parasitic woke mind virus, which I think has definitely infected 1, 2, 3, 4, if not more jurors in this case, is the most cancerous infection that our country has ever seen. And I'm going to show you what they actually have put on the subway car that Jordan Neely was thwarted from hurting other passengers by hero Daniel Penny. I'm going to share with you what they put in that subway car, which confirms this 100%. So Kenneth, again, Penny's attorney, says it's been roughly 20 hours for 4 days in what is many ways a factually uncomplicated case, he told the judge, which is true. We are concerned that giving the Allen charge under these circumstances will be coercive. Now, an Allen charge is essentially the judge telling the deadlocked jury that you just need to keep trying and you need to be flexible. You need to be flexible, which, I mean, if you listen to those words, flexible and open-minded, which is what the judge in this case says, probably a radical left judge, that does sound coercive. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Daphne Yornan, who is the assistant prosecutor, disagreed and asked, what a big shock, and asked Wiley to give the jury the Allen charge. She said that the note from the jury was the first indication that they had been in a disagreement. During deliberations, jurors asked to rewatch bystander videos of Penny restraining Neely, responding officers' body camera videos, which I showed you yesterday, and video of Penny's subsequent interview with the 2 police detectives, which I also showed you yesterday. I'll leave a link to that video in the end card, or just go to my YouTube channel and you'll find it there. It's a very recent publication. They also asked to rehear the medical examiner's testimony about issuing a death certificate before Neely's full toxicology reports were completed. They also asked for the judge to read back the definitions of recklessness and criminal negligence and to have the definitions in writing. This just seems so bizarre to me. I mean, it seems to any logical human being, if you look at what happened, you listen to the eyewitness testimony. The eyewitness testimony is saying that this guy saved, essentially, effectively saying that Daniel Penny saved their lives. I want to ask you a serious question before I keep going on with this. You have a choice. You're in a subway car. You have a choice. Do you want Jordan Neely, a known criminal, huge rap sheet, drug addict, who gets up, stands up in front of bypassers, in front of passengers and says, I don't care what happens to me. I'm willing to go to jail. I will KILL all of you. Do you want that guy sitting next to you? Or do you want Jordan Neely, Marine, veteran, studying architecture, upstanding citizen, no criminal record, who actually did the right thing as a good Samaritan, which the Bible actually declares is something that should be something that is, instilled and advocated for. Who would you rather have? Would you rather have Daniel Penny, Marine veteran, good Samaritan, just, on his way to the gym, studying architecture? Or would you rather have long-standing criminal, a drug addict, lunatic psycho who actually has been diagnosed with schizophrenia, abandoned by his family, his father all of a sudden, oh, now he cares. He didn't care for years as his son roamed around, homeless, schizophrenic, on drugs. He didn't care then. Oh, but now he cares, and he's going to sue, actually has the balls and the gall to sue Daniel Penny now in a civil suit. It's insane. Who would you rather have? Answer me in the comments down below. Wiley said he believed, this is the judge again, he said he had to give the jurors the Allen charge and said he disagreed with Kenneth that the case was not factually complicated. Quote, the tenor of the note is this is an extremely conscientious jury who is going about things in a very systematic way, he said, referring to the note that the jury sent him this morning. It is not time to declare a mistrial. This is not complicated. This is not showing that. This is, if anything, it's showing the exact opposite of an extremely conscientious jury. It's an extremely ignorant, indoctrinated, radically woke jury. And there's got to be a few people on there that are like, you guys are nuts. This guy's not guilty. You're lunatics if you think this guy did this maliciously and with intent to harm. He was trying to save people. This guy should be giving medals, not 15 years in a state penitentiary. After the jurors were called back into the courtroom, Wiley told them that he did not want them to violate their consciences. Quote, I urge each of you to make every possible effort to arrive at a just verdict, end quote, he said. I want you to make this decision on your own volition. I want to play for you. Hear it from the horse's mouth, Daniel Penny. And let me know what you think. This is him talking about the situation, telling people who he is, what he's all about. Listen to this. Listen to this very, very carefully.
East Village in Manhattan. So I take the subway multiple times a day. In this instance, I was coming from school. I got out of class around 2:15, and I took I was at J Street Metro Tech, took the Uptown F train. At 2nd Avenue, a man came on, stumbled on. He appeared to be on drugs. The doors closed, and he ripped his jacket off and threw it at the people sitting down to my left. I was listening to music at the time, and he was yelling, so I took my headphones out to hear what he was yelling. And the 3 main threats that he repeated over and over was, I'm gonna kill you, I'm prepared to go to jail for life, and I'm willing to die. This was a scary situation, and Mr. Neely came on. He was threatening. I'm 6'2", and he was taller than me. So it was, and there's a common misconception that Marines don't get scared. We're actually taught one of our core values is courage, and courage is not the absence of fear, but how you handle fear. And I was scared for myself, but I looked around. I saw women and children. He was yelling in their faces, saying these threats. I couldn't just sit still. Some people say that I was holding on to Mr. Neely for 15 minutes. This is not true. I mean, between stops is only a couple minutes. So the whole interaction lasted less than 5 minutes. Some people say I was trying to choke him to death, which is also not true. I was trying to restrain him. You can see in the video, there's a clear rise and fall of his chest, indicating that he's breathing. I'm trying to restrain him from him being able to carry out the threats. And then some people say that this was about race, which is absolutely ridiculous. I didn't see a black man threatening passengers. I saw a man threatening passengers, a lot of whom were people of color. A man who helped restrain Mr. Neely was a person of color. And then a few days after the incident, I read in the papers that a woman of color came out and called me a hero. I don't believe that I'm a hero, but she was one of those people that I was trying to protect. We were all scared. Mr. Neely was yelling in these passengers' faces, and they looked terrified. The reason why there was no video at the start of the altercation was because people were too afraid getting away from him, and the videos didn't start until they saw that situation was under control. I knew I had to act, and I acted in a way that would protect the other passengers, protect myself, and protect Mr. Neely. I used this hole to restrain him, and I did this by leaving my hand on top of his head to control his body. You can see in the video there's a clear rise and fall of his chest, indicating that he was still breathing. And I'm calibrating my grip based on the force that he's exerting. And I was trying to keep him on the ground until the police came. I was praying that the police would come and take this situation over. I didn't want to be put in that situation, but I couldn't just sit still and let him carry out these threats.
I ask you one more time, who would you rather have sitting next to you in a subway car or any kind of public transportation? Would you rather have Daniel Penny, upstanding, former Marine, smart, intelligent, has a good heart, good soul, values, principles, ethics, zero criminal record, zero background in anything related to crime or wanting to harm anybody, decorated, studying architecture, just a great model for young men. He sounds very erudite, articulate, explaining himself very well, even admitting he was scared. I believe every single word of what he says. And again, you can just look at the testimony of the people who were on the car who said that Daniel Penny saved their lives. One lady said, I was scared. I had a baby or a small child. Said, I think if it wasn't for Daniel Penny, I was scared to death that something would happen to my son, my beautiful child. Another lady said that the guy who got up, Jordan Neely, and started screaming all these threats, he scared the living daylights out of everybody in the car. And thank you for the guy with the brown jacket who she was referring to, Daniel Penny. If it wasn't for him, I don't know what could have happened. Even New York City Mayor Eric Adams said very recently, I played this in the stream too, he said that this is the kind of guy that this city should uphold. This is the kind of guy that this city should elevate with all intents and purposes. If it wasn't for Daniel Penny, we might have 2 or 3 potential homicides rather than, one person being restrained in the right manner and having an untimely death, which actually there's actually proof that it wasn't even Daniel Penny's chokehold, that he was still breathing. You heard him say his chest was rising and falling. He didn't hold him for 50 minutes, but he actually had something like exorbitant amounts of drug in his blood alcohol tests that they did. He had exorbitant amounts of fentanyl, which was actually the real culprit. Even Eric Adams saying, no, we could have potentially had 3, maybe if not more, homicides, if not for Daniel Penny. Race baiting, race hustling, that this parasitic, cancerous, woke, DEI, Obama-laden parasite infection that has seeped into the bloodstream, the very lifeblood of our country, is the worst thing that's ever happened to us. I'm going to share with you a video right now that is a prime example. And I, being a professor, I can tell you without a shadow of hyperbole, it all starts there. I don't just call myself professor for kicks and giggles. I'm full-time media now. Thank God. But I used to teach at some of these places, and I taught at some places that were actually quite prestigious. And I can tell you right now, without a shadow of exaggeration, no hyperbole, the amount of woke ideology, the amount of Marxist far radical left extreme anti-American, anti-capitalistic sentiment that pervades and permeates the campuses, hallways, and byways of these places is enough to choke anybody and suffocate anybody just trying to get a simple, real, substantive education. Watch this video right here of what they put in the subway car, what radical leftists put in the subway car where this incident happened. Watch this.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
I don't even think they know what the definition of lynching even means. But look at the amount of effort they put into that. I mean, they're literally encasing it. They're bringing their own drill bits, for crying out loud. It's exactly what the American people voted against. The mandate that was set on November 5th. This is exactly the kind of parasitic woke mind virus. Nobody cares about. I believe Daniel Penny 1,000,000,000%. If that guy was purple, he would have done the same thing. White, yellow, orange, purple, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares what color you are, no matter how much the divider-in-chief Obama keeps telling you that it's important, and Joyless Reed and all these absolute lunkheads. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. We're sick and tired of this crap. We just want sanity back in our country, which is why the American people made their resounding voice unanimously in a landslide heard on November 5th. I'm going to keep you posted on everything that happens in this case, all the latest. If the jury does eventually come to a conclusion, to a final verdict, make sure you stay tuned. Sign up for our free newsletter in the pinned comment, show notes, and description. That's your sure-proof way, almost like your insurance policy, so you never miss out. I want you to subscribe, hit the bell, and all that. But even when you do that, you don't sometimes always get notified. By signing up for a free newsletter, it is almost like your sure-proof way of never missing out. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. I can't wait to read your comments. Also, check out these videos coming up on the screen right here, especially this one that we posted very recently. My face right there, if you tap on that, you can subscribe and follow. It's absolutely free. And as always, may God bless you, and may God bless Daniel Penny and the United States of America.